Hey guys, and Happy New Year! Welcome to Streamin' with Keegan. This is the very first stream of its kind. I'm going to be showcasing my first album of the new year. January again, this time spelled with a 4 instead of an A to make it different. And of course, the again, which was not originally mentioned in the first January song on Captive Arts. But yeah. Like I said, this is probably going to be the first of its kind. I'm probably going to do other streams like these in the future where I showcase albums. But this is the first one. And, yeah, thank you guys so much for coming through. Vox and Musics, love you. And I think there was someone else. Yeah, Ordian came in way earlier. But so far it looks like it's, hey, appreciate that, Vox, and that's very sweet. But yeah, we're gonna kick things off with this album, January Again. This is going to be a full rundown of every single one of the songs on this album. And for this, I've prepared little lyric videos on my YouTube channel. And they're also just, like, I thought about doing these for the stream, creating these for the stream, but they're also really cool standalone pieces that you can listen to whenever. And it looks like Sundown already got comments from both Sundown and Dick McGuffin, DMG, as it were, complimenting the songs on it. So, you know, but it is cool. Vox and Musics, I didn't realize you were preparing. You hadn't listened to January Again until watching the stream because you didn't want to be spoiled for it. I appreciate that. Because I know how much you wanted to watch it, listen to them. But yeah, there are 13 songs on this album. The songs are January Again, Robot Beanie, which doesn't have its own music video because it already has one. Felt Fine, which is a lot of these are mixes, recreations of existing songs. Which is true of January, like I just mentioned, and Felt Fine, which is a very old single I made a long time ago. I could pull it up on Spotify, actually, if you want. Or we could wait until we actually get to that point. But I guess to summarize, all of these songs are, well, not all of them. But most of these songs are recreations of existing songs I have, either as singles or songs on a song on an album. Sometimes they're mashups too. I basically just had a lot of fun recreating a lot of my favorite songs I've made throughout the years, multiple years, not just 2023. The primary vocalists in this album consist of obviously myself, but also Vocaloid's Po Uta. Po Uta is the primary vocalist and the source of most of the vocals in these songs, but of course, with myself being like the secondary to primary vocalist. Hey, thanks. Love you. Yeah, dude, the artwork, each individual drawing, which is now, by the way, my channel banner too, which is pretty cool. Each of these, I traced over my own body to get the very realistic look for each of them. And it was a very, very long, but very worth it process. I started back in November. Yeah, this was a labor of love, to be sure. And, you know, these same designs are also on the album cover, which looks different. It's more square-shaped. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the first song. The only song I heard was the Crickets remake on accident. I heard like 10 seconds of it though. I mean, it might be a little hard to avoid that. You probably from the promo video by itself, unless you skipped the promo video, because I did release like a promo video on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and even YouTube of little like 30-second to 15-second snippets of each of my they probably average on like 15 seconds snippets of not every single one of the songs, but most, if not all, of the songs belonging to specific albums that each of these characters represent. As we get into them, I'll talk about how each character represents each album. But without further ado, let's get into the first song, January Again. This one is the second to first song I actually made before I realized I wanted to make this into a whole album for the new year. So let's get on into it. 2024 mix. I had so much fun with this one. The vocals in this, like the la 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 la, that's chip speech. I should also mention I used a lot of chip speech in these. Forgot to mention that earlier. I had a lot of fun making this one. Hey, thanks, love you. Thanks, guys. Hey, appreciate that. I enjoyed making it. Compilation or combination between Z-Game Editor and Premiere Pro. Also, if you listen to these parallels, I won't talk too much because I don't want to overpower this song. I'll talk about it later. What I was going to say is the chip speech voice and the Vocaloid voice mirror the original vocals I used with the vocoder for the original song very well. And that was a complete fluke. I was not intending that. But if you go back and listen to the original remake, Po Uta and D-Clat, respectively, are very similar to the original vocoder effects I used. Hey, I'm glad you like it. And then, of course, the slow ending. Subscribe. Thank you guys so much. You have no idea how nice it is to actually listen to that song on January for once. Because, I mean, this is the first time any of you guys have heard it, but I've heard this multiple times back in November of 2023. Because that was when I started working on it. and I've been perfecting it, listening to it over and over. Yeah, I've listened to it on every month of the year starting November, which I know is like only like 1 or 2 months, but still, depending on how you count it. Yeah. So that's basically it with January. I mean, I'm trying to think of the original song and its origin. I just made it because I wanted to make a song about the new year. It's crazy. I don't remember how old the original one was, but if we go back in time here, well, of course, this music video was made a year before the song was released, or a year after. I mean, a year after. So that must have been like 2 years ago. Yeah. So I must have released January in 2022. That sounds about right. But yeah, it's made such a huge journey all the way into 2023 or 2024. My mind is still in 2023, guys. It hasn't fully sunk in yet, even though I've made all these songs and released the whole album. But yeah, I really like how I used the synth in this, like the low, like the saws. I like the bass. I like the way I mixed it in. For the first time, I actually used Patcher to isolate the high end and add a gate to it, while not doing that with the low end and adding some like distortion, and then like artificially sidechaining the whole thing to a kick, which works wonders. I love that. It's my new favorite thing to do, especially with like techno, hyper pop songs, like super hyper techno. Which is kind of what these songs are, like a combination of hyperpop and techno, I guess, like indie techno / hyperpop. I don't know. That's just a guess. Yeah, Patcher is awesome. I still don't use it that much, but when I do, well, it comes in handy, especially when I need it. When I need it specifically to do certain things. Usually when it comes to isolating certain frequencies. I still haven't mastered the other details with Patcher, but in that particular case, it was really helpful. Anyway, coming up next, we've got Robot Beanie, the thing I'm wearing on my head right now. That is partially being eaten alive by my key, as you might have noticed. The blue eye and the blue stripe on this side, I keep wanting to point on that side, is being eaten alive because I have a blue screen behind me. Anyway, yeah. So y'all have already seen this, but I'm gonna push you through it anyway because it's part of the album. It needs to get its own representation. Let's get on into it. Because I want this to be like rewatchable too. Like this is my presentation. Robot Beanie. Still can't believe I found this thing. This was a pure fluke. This whole album was planned so last minute. I love the vocal effect I did on that. It's like a very mild ring modulation effect. Kind of makes my voice sound like a Dalek. If any of you have watched Doctor Who, I think it's the same effect. I love this song. It's a kitty cat. Alright. That was Robot Beanie. Hey, Felix, welcome. This is a showing of my latest album. This is going to be a new stream I do every time I release a new song. Thank you for coming through. No, this is not a music listening stream. I'm not listening to other people's music. This is specifically a album showing. I'm just doing a debut of my latest album. But, you know, stay tuned. I will have other music listening streams in the future of 2024, which is only just begun. Anyway, coming up next, we have the third song in my installment of 13 called Felt Fine. So, I'll just let it play. YouTube's so rude. I'll just let it play through, and you guys can let me know if you've seen the single, if you've heard the single. No shame if you haven't. It's a very obscure single. I made it a while ago, back when I was basically had no followers. You'd have to go way back and see. Like, I'm talking back to the Easter Egg EP, for those of you who haven't heard of it. The Easter Egg EP, which is basically a YouTube Music and Spotify exclusive, which is, you know, it was basically like, for those of you who don't know, it was basically just like a test, a mixing test. That was literally what Easter Egg EP is. But basically, it's way back there with that. It's a very old single. All right, well, we'll get into this one. And then I'll talk about Felt Fine, I'll talk about the original Felt Fine and why I decided to add it. Let's get on into it. Hey, thanks guys. Yeah, this is one of my older songs, or a remake of one of my older songs. Hey, thanks, love you. Yeah, you want to know that lead is actually a chip speech synth. That lead is actually chip speech. The You can make saws with it. You can make saws with chip speech as well. Alright, that was I Felt Fine, the remake. Specifically, the Lithium Lima Bean mix. As we go on, you're gonna notice these mixes becoming more and more outlandish with their names, which is a little something I had fun with when I was making these. Yeah. It's crazy. You could like use the chip speech voices as synthesizers, as like, you know, wordless synthesizers. They're so multi-purpose. But yeah, that was Felt Fine. And I'll play a brief snippet of the original on Spotify if you guys would like. Hold on, give me a moment. But I just want to show you, show you the, where it is in the discography of everything. Oop, come on. Here we are. All the way down here. It's right after Captive Arts. It's right here. This quaint little single. It's not anywhere else. It's just here on this little single. Felt Fine hasn't moved anywhere else until now. I made this song years ago, well before I even released it. Then I mixed it for Spotify, like, yeah, back in 2022. And that's like, I think I actually made the song. I might have made this song in like 2020 or like even 2019. So I'll play like a segment of it. I won't play like the whole thing because we're not here to listen to the whole song, the whole original song. But yeah, let's get into it. When I was a young boy, about 9, I felt fine. Yeah. Yeah, that's what this is. But yeah, the contents of the song, I wrote it, kind of like the content I wrote it like based off of the very first move my family did back when I was, well, about 9. And at first, you know, it stressed me the hell out. Like, this is the very house that we moved to, and I stayed here for like drawing a blank on how many years it's been. Fuck. I was never great at numbers and math. But I started in 2010. It's like over 10 years. 20, like 50, was it 14 years? I think so. I think that's yeah, I think that's right. Could be completely wrong. But yeah, I had a lot of anxiety when we moved to this new place, because until then, like, we lived in an old duplex, and that was basically as far as my memory. Like, that was the only other place I lived, other than, like, one additional house where I was, like, a little baby and I didn't remember anything about it. But aside from that, I lived in that duplex in my, like, early childhood, growing up to my tween years, essentially. then we moved here, and it was a huge adjustment for me. And that song, that's the contents, that's the meaning behind the song. I really like the original. I have to listen to it. Hey, appreciate that, Voxen. But yeah, that song is about how I don't like change. I'm not accustomed to it, and it's a good song for my mental health. I'm venting about my mental health here, and it's like I decided to talk about it. Okay, I wasn't actually 9 years old when I made that. That was the next thing I was going to bring up. I wasn't 9 years old. I was talking about that in retrospect. I wrote this in retrospect. I was like, you know what? I'm trying to think of a topic for a song, and for some reason that came up. Because it was a pivotal part of my childhood growing up. I wish I was, dude. Have you seen, like, I don't know if you guys know about Seasonal. I know Seasonal's 13, but Seasonal's younger brother is like, I want to say he was 8 or maybe even 6, and he was like fucking making music on his phone. The kids these days, they've got technology abound. Like when I was their age, like, you know, I don't remember when the first smartphone was made, but God, when was the first smartphone made? But I don't think our family even got smartphones until much later. You know, I grew up, my family filmed me with you know, analog cassette tape, video camera. Big beefy thing. All my early childhood memories were on cassette. All my baby videos. Yeah. Anyway, up next, didn't mean to go on that whole tangent, but I wanted to give some context on Felt Fine. And of course I had to add like the 3 and the 1, even though you can't really tell with this font, but there you can see. To make it look different, give it a new vibe, a new hip New Year 2024 techno hyperpop vibe or whatever. This is a very tongue-in-cheek album in many respects, and I like that. It was very shameless in that regard. Anyway, coming up next, we've got I'm an Android with little tildes, which is kind of like a cutesy expression. All right. Let's get it. And for those of you unaware, I'll talk about it after the song. Jen is crazy. I've never heard of IMMS. IMMS. So you can hear this part is a remake of I'm a Robot. That's obvious. But this part coming up. God, I headbanged so hard, one of my AirPods came out. Fuck, where did it go? Shit, I don't know where it went. Thankfully, one of them's still in. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to hear the song at all. Yeah, for those of you, I was wondering when you guys would ask where my headphones were, but I was wearing AirPods that entire time, which is why I was able to wear my robot beanie to begin with. Fuck. Okay. Oh no, I completely lost it. Oh shit. Well, I wanted to switch back to my actual good headphones anyway. Yeah, right. I remember that, Voxen. You talked about that. You said that I'm a Robot was the first remake. And of course, that last bit where I was headbanging, that was a remake of Cracks, which is another song on the Roby album, which I forgot to mention too. God, I was gonna bring this up earlier, but if we go back to this, if we go back to the cover and everything, each of these characters represents an album. This dude is on an album that hasn't been released yet. Wink. That's to be continued. But anyway, this little design represents Captive Arts. It's like it kind of mirrors the original album cover, which I'll bring up over here. Yeah, because in this, it's like a kind of like a, I don't know what you would call it, like a image layering, where I layered like a window with blinds and my eye. It's supposed to represent the COVID-19 quarantine, feeling isolated from everyone, and that was kind of like a time in my life where I was focusing heavily on my art. I was also recovering from a breakup back then. So a lot of things happening, a lot of unprecedented things in my life, and oop, this remake of the album cover is like an eyeball that's like, you see the window with curtains and there's like a chain, but it also has like wings. It's a very abstract design. Not and when I say abstract, I mean abstract with a C and a T, not with a K and a T. We're not talking about Abstractius Artemis over here. I always have to, whenever I can't say the word abstract anymore, like without thinking about Abstractius Artemis, which is a really cool, realizing a really cool like marketing technique. Abstract now lives in my head rent free whenever I say the word abstract. Shit, yeah. I need to find that other AirPod now. Because I don't want to risk like running it over or something. Was pretty expensive. Roby will always be my favorite. Hey, appreciate that. A lot of the songs on that album are mixed horribly, but I appreciate the compliment. Which by the way, there's Roby right over there. That's the next guy. And Felt Fine is not here because Felt Fine isn't an album. The only characters and designs here are the ones on this album, are the ones representing albums. With the exception of the robot beanie guy, which is basically me in a robot beanie. Okay, well, hold on a moment. I need to look for my AirPod before we go through the rest of the album, because I really don't want to damage it accidentally. Shit. I don't know where the hell that went. Bear with me. Shit. Fuck. Oh, no. Ah! Found it. Ah, right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna put these back in the case. Cause I was honestly quietly suffering for, you know, aesthetic reasons. I wanted to wear the robot beanie on stream, so I was listening to the music on these babies, which, you know, they're really good AirPods, but they're not these, and it's hard to beat these, you know? Like, these are literally designed for mixing and mastering, and not lying to you, and I've gotten accustomed to these very good headphones. So there's not quite an adequate comparison. And, like, they're, you know, they're little itty-bitty things. Of course, now I need to switch settings and everything, so bear with me. Let's just a little bit longer. Alright, well, actually, it looks like it's all connected. How is it? Is it coming through on YouTube? Yep. You guys can hear everything fine? Yeah, you guys can hear that, right? Yeah, I think we're all good. Cool. All right. Well, coming up next, we have Playground of Joys, which, all right, cool. Which is, again, I'll get into it, and you guys can guess on whether or not you recognize the song. And if you don't, I'll talk about it. And of course, this it's, the mix is called Flammable Piss Mix, which is a reference to a song I never released. And that's all the information you'll get out of that. I will not say anything else. I should also mention those lyrics you just were sent through. Those are original. Those aren't from any other existing song. Even though this song itself is a remake, those specific lyrics are unique to this version. They're not anywhere else. So just thought I'd point that out. Recognize it yet? If not, that's fine. Is that a yes? You do recognize it, Foxen? Anyway, I'll talk about it anyway. This is the title just showed up. The original title literally just showed up. This song is Making Some Noise with an alternate name, Playground of Joys, which is the second line in the chorus. So I thought that was a very clever thing to do. And of course, this is a lot more chaotic, even more chaotic than the original, believe it or not. You know, techno version like everything else. It's just a fun song. I really like it. I'm really glad. I needed to revisit and make this one. For those of you who aren't aware, so I don't think. Yeah, it's yeah, the lyrics "looking for beans with the boys." That's like a reference to that really old meme at this point. It's an older meme now of like, oh god, I don't even know if it's. Let me look it up real quick. I don't remember what it was called. Looking for beans. It was like the me and the boys looking for beans or something. Let's bring it up. Let's see if I can. Yeah, this is it. Me and the boys at 2 a.m. looking for beans. I was inspired by this specific meme when I wrote those lyrics. It's hilarious. Anyway, let's keep going. Oh, gotcha, Boxen. Cool. All right. And this is also Sing For You. There's a mashup here. I'm glad. That was so funny. this ending. All right, that was Playground of Joys by yours truly. So, yeah, have you guys seen the original Making Some Noise? It's actually part of the Timothy album, but basically, yeah, this song is a mashup of Making Some Noise and, of course, Sing For You. So, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard Sing For You. Like, I've showed that one multiple times. Very, very proud of that one. That's probably that's still my favorite song to this day that I made. But Making Some Noise is, yeah, it's over on, Timothy. Hey, yeah, I'm glad you like the vocoder. I'm such a sucker for vocoders. I still like the vocoder effect I did for Sing For You better. But, yeah, I still like that vocoder effect. Yeah. So this is, I'll just show you a brief segment of Making Some Noise. I used, Amy and, Chris as the vocalists for this one. I'll just play like a few seconds of it. I like this album. It's kind of like giving me an excuse to show all these older songs I've made over the years. Here's the opening. All right, that's all I'll say. That's all I'll show for now. But yeah, that's a song I really liked on that album. There are a lot of good songs I liked on Timothy, but the ones that took the cake were ironically like the first and last songs. That was not intentional, by the way, but those were two of my most favorite songs on that album. So they got the pick. Cool. All right, so you have seen it. Cool, or heard it, I should say. You don't see songs unless you're Rich Av Preem or anybody with that. I already forgot the name of it. The condition where you could like see sounds. Cool as fuck. But I don't remember what it was called. Preem might have like an undiagnosed version of that condition. I wish I remembered what that condition was called, but it sounds really cool. I mean, obviously, I'm sure there's unforeseen struggles with it, as you know, but like I still, from an outsider looking in, it sounds pretty cool. Anyway, that's all I'll say on the matter. Coming up next, we've got Dish O Demons. This is a very, very fun remake. I had a lot of fun working on this one, specifically the percussion, and you'll find out soon enough why that is. I'll see if you guys recognize the song. Fucking love the percussion here, the fucking bongos. Hey, thanks, Foxen. Yeah, I used a Labs percussion sample for all the crazy percussion sounds you're hearing. Like the bongo, the whistling, other cartoon sounds. It's very fun. Anybody recognize this yet? If not, again, that's fine. It's a very old single. All right, that was Dish O' Demons by myself. And there's one other thing I noticed about it that I might have fucked up on the editing, but the lyrics didn't look quite right at one point, which might have been a mistake on my end. Even if it is, like, there's no way for me to change it now, which sucks, but, hang on. Just need to check that. Over here. No, I guess that was just tripping. All right, cool. Cyber Diva? No, this is Po-Uta. All these are Po-Uta. The Vocaloid here is all Po-Uta. This is like a Po-Uta exclusive when it comes to Vocaloid anyway. But it's a good guess. They sound very similar. But yeah, Dish O' Demons, the Bongi Bongo mix is a remake of Demon Dish, which is actually its own single. Wait, no, it was over here. Hold on. Here it is. You might recognize this, you might not. I'll play a segment of it. Yeah. But yeah, this is a remake of that. A lot faster, obviously. More chaotic. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites on my album already. The way I did the bongo drums and the other chaotic percussive elements. But I'd like to know, what are your guys' favorites so far? Anyway, coming up next, we have we got Stings, spelled with a 1 and a 2. 1 for the I and S for the 2. All right, let's get on into it. I wonder if you guys will recognize this one too. This is another album song, meaning it's a remake of a song on an album. So let's get on into it. This one's very different from the original, I will say, in a good way. My favorite song on my album? Ooh. It's probably a song that has yet to come up. It's my remake of... Well, I'll talk about it when it comes up. But if you're referring to my favorite song of mine, period, it would be Sing For You still. This is another mashup. Yeah, this is another mashup. Two really good songs in the Blair album, which is this character. All right. Yeah, that was Stings. All right. Yeah, I want to talk about the individual songs first. So the song it's named after, and the song that was primarily playing in this remake, is basically a commentary about my mental health. I know, another one, but it's not. This time it's not about my anxiety. It's about my depression. And how, I don't want to talk about, I want to talk about this without getting tearing up. It's not like super deep or anything, but it does bring back a lot of old emotions, a lot of old feelings that are not with me anymore, thankfully. But, yeah, that song is basically about overcoming hard times, mentally, at least, like, depression, because it's driving home the message that, you know, over time the depressive feelings will eventually subside, and sometimes you'll find the beauty in the melancholiness of it all. It's very deep, and it's something I needed to put out on it's something I needed to write when I wrote it. The original version is a lot more raw. I was actually like joyfully laughing at the very end. It was kind of more of like a indie rock vibe, the original. It's very different from this one. This one's like a more upbeat, you know. I mean, it's the same melody and the same chords, but like, you know, it's a lot more hyper, I guess. Hey, appreciate that, Voxen. And then the next one is not as heavy. It's it's called Trailblazer. Another song on the Blair album, which is again this character who's being covered up. But yeah, she's also over here. Yeah, the Trailblazer song is yeah, a lot more lighthearted. It's a bit more, I don't know, it's like it's supposed to be a little bit more sexy, I guess. If that's the right word. Just a bit more fun, I guess. Very, very different vibe. It's about like, it's about a part. I wrote it like it's about someone who, it's about a partner who's like here to take you on like, I don't know, a wild ride. Like they're fun, they're cool to be around, that kind of vibe. It's very different. It's a lot more exciting, less dour and deep as well. I'll play two segments of the original of each of these songs on the Blair album, which is this one. First being Stings. Oh, I didn't like that. Hey, thank you, Voxen. Yeah, this is the original of Stings. Play a little bit of it. As you can see, very different in style. A lot slower, a lot more raw. Yeah, that's that. And the next is Trailblazer, which was done with Vocaloids Amy and Dex. A lot more groovy. At some point, I want to do another remake of this in its original style. I like both of these songs respectively, which is why I made a remake of them. All right. Yeah, that's them. And this is the remake. Anyway, up next we have another good one. This is from the Spencer album, which is this dude with the mohawk and the unibrow. Set Me Free, with 3s instead of E's on each one of them. I really like the panning I did on this one. Also get the joke, trail mix. This is a bit more of a recent song. Relatively, anyway, compared to the others. I wonder if you recognize it. And yeah, I keep forgetting that these are mashups. This is also a mashup. There's like a main song and then there's like an addition as well. Oh. Vibing out to my own song. Really love the panning I did in this. This is Chip's Beach Boys. later on, I'll actually combine my voice with it into a vocoder, which is gonna create a fun sound right now. It's like I added my voice and vocoded the Chis Beach voice and combined them. Love doing that. And it's gone. All right, that was Set Me Free, official lyric video. I keep wanting to name this out like I'm listening to someone else's music. I'm just so used to that format. But yeah, let me talk about those songs real quick. Those songs, again, are on the Spencer album, which is the very next album. Again, is this dude with the mohawk, whose name is Spencer. All these characters, at least most of, like, the human characters, except for, like, me and the robot beanie, they're all part of, well, even me. They're all part of, like, this fictional, well, actually, no. They're all part of this fictional, band called Demon Dish, which I'm going to get into more as time progresses. I'm thinking about even making a TV show, like a little indie TV show, out of these characters at some point. Sorry I missed most of this song. I'm gonna go back and listen. All right, cool. That's fine, Voxen. We all got other things in our lives to attend to. No worries. But yeah, yeah, so the songs in that remake, Set Me Free, consist of Happy With You and Me, which is here, and Matter of Time. Of course, the length difference is noticeable. Matter of Time being the smaller of the two in the mashup, like the non-main one, whereas Happy With You and Me is like the primary. Play a little bit of each of these in case you're curious. This one is you hear the vocals here. All right, I just need to play through that whole verse. But yeah, that song is another song about my mental health, which I have many. But that one specifically is about kind of like escaping it, getting perspective. Because that could, like, sometimes getting literal physical perspective is all you need to escape a slump in your mental health. Like, I was literally writing parts of that song while taking the dog for a walk. And while I was walking George, which is the dog's name, I just, I was sightseeing, pretty mundane neighborhood, but I was looking around, looking at the buildings being constructed on the freeway, by the freeway. There's a lot of things to see. A lot of mundane things, but still things that you don't see up and around the house when you don't go out. And sometimes being in a physical environment is all you need to really, I guess, reset your mental health. Like, put your life into, like, a new episode, I guess, if that makes sense. Just, like, get in a different mindset than you were before. If you're just kind of, like, in a slump mentally, sometimes it's changing scenery could be helpful. That's why we go on vacations, after all, is, like, to get away from to get away from life, to get away from daily life. It's like a miniature version of that. That's what that song's about. And then Matter of Time, it actually has a similar meaning, ironically enough. It's about you know, it's another song about my it's another song about my mental health, but this song is specifically about like waiting before, like, if you're bothered by something and you wish you weren't, like, something is, I get a lot of intrusive thoughts. I struggle with intrusive thoughts. I don't know about anyone else, but I struggle a lot with intrusive thoughts. Um, I've been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, and I suspect I might also have OCD because I have a lot of the symptoms of OCD. Like, I'm not, and when I say OCD, I'm not talking about like, oh, perfectionist, you know, although I'm also a perfectionist. This needs to be perfect. Like, I'm talking about like obsessive urges and temptations that make zero sense, like symmetrical tapping. Fuck knows. Like, it's very much actual similar. It's very much like uh medical OCD, but it's not quite OCD. It's more like anxiety or something, generalized anxiety disorder. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not the one who diagnosed me. But yeah, it's about that. It's a lot about, it's basically just about waiting, because it's only a matter of time before I drop it. It's only a matter of time before I move on. This too shall pass. That's another mantra I carry. This too shall pass. I think my mom said that to me once, and it's a good thing I live by, because, you know, it's like, it's my motto. It's like, if something's bothering you, odds are it won't last forever, you know, like, life goes on. Eventually it'll go away, either because you've accepted it and it no longer bothers you, or it's a temporary setback which you will overcome. Either way, there's no need to worry about it for an indefinite period of time, because that is not healthy and it will not happen. Your body is literally not designed to operate under continuous stress. Like, if you're about to have a panic attack, for example, like, one of your biggest fears is like it'll last forever. Like, this is how I'll always feel. But your body is literally incapable of experiencing such a high level of adrenaline for such a long period of time, which is something that has helped me a lot through my mental struggles, is knowing that it'll end. But anyway, that was a long-winded explanation for a matter of time. Let's actually listen to the song. Very upbeat. Am I not liking my own songs, bro? It's cringe. Yeah, you agree with me, Voxen. I'm glad. I'm playing more and more of the songs, so I'm actually, like, really enjoying these songs. Alright, I'll stop, actually. Even though it's tempting to listen to it all. But yeah, those are the songs consisting in Set Me Free, which, you know, both of these songs actually have very similar themes, which was not intentional. I was basically going based off of vibes. I was only picking the songs based off of vibes, so them having a similar theme is a pure fluke. Anyway, coming up next, okay, alright. I think I know you guys. I'm pretty sure you both have heard the original version of this song. But, yeah, this is Dance Like You Belong Here. Except, you know, A is replaced by a 4. The E and I are mismatched. And there are 2 E's at the end of here. Because, you know, I needed to make this title different somehow. I just had to. And this mix is the carcinogenic gummy worm mix, which is, I had so much fun coming up with these fucking nicknames for the mixes, these names. I can relate. I have the same disorder, intrusive thoughts. Can last. Oh, you too? Oh, man. Oof, yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, intrusive thoughts suck. Really sucks. I'm glad that you can relate, but I'm sorry that you can relate. Anyway, up next. Let's get it. Hmm. This was actually the very first song I remade. I made this song before I knew I was going to make a whole album of these songs. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Watson. Yeah, this is a good one. And this one, in case it wasn't obvious, is about social anxiety. And worrying about fitting in, which is basically the same thing. And just acting like you're confident and faking it till you make it. And I really like this even more hyper pop and just hyper version of the original, because the original was already a hyper pop-esque type song, and this one's like even more hyper. Boxen, I think I showed you this version in DMs. I really like how I really liked what I did with these vocals here. Yeah, this is the one I shared with you. The harmony in your songs. Hey, I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked my harmonies. Yeah. So, yeah, this is a like I said in the song, this is a song about social anxiety and fitting in and faking it till you make it, so you feel like you belong here, essentially. Like, you know, especially if you're in a group of friends who seem to know each other more than you know them, like, that's the worst feeling. If you're already socially awkward and you feel like everyone else has more in common with each other than you do with them, that's the worst fucking feeling. You get, like, a huge outsider complex. Maybe they have more in common than you, either because they've known each other longer, or they just share a lot of the same interests. They share a lot of the same experiences that you can't quite relate to, but, you know, you're still in that group of friends and you want to be close with them, but you just feel like they're so much closer to each other than they are to you, and you're also super socially awkward about it. Like, like you're already not a super social person and you're worried your shyness is going to be a put off. That song is all about social anxiety and just overcoming it and trying to be the life of the party even if you're like beyond stressed and would rather do anything else. Yeah, Voxen, I was wondering, yeah, if you felt that or not, because I know you're a relatively shy person, which I get completely. I remember when I first asked you if you wanted to be interviewed, and you were like you were too shy, and like I I completely empathize with you on that because there was a time where I was like, no way in hell would I have felt comfortable to live stream. Like on my very first live stream, I wonder if you could even notice. Like I think I outright admitted that I was very uncomfortable revealing my face live in front of people, in front of a bunch of people live. Like that was a really stressful thing for me to do, and I still went through it, and I'm stronger because of it, you know? Um Now I'm not saying always go out of your comfort zone. Like obviously there are like a few things you can handle at a time, but like always strive for better, I guess. Um and even then at the end of the day, like you don't need to have a circle of friends. Like you don't need to have like a circle. It's cool to have a circle of friends, but you don't there's a very cool song that my mom wrote called Everybody's in a Circle, and she puts it eloquently like you are your own circle. Everybody is a circle, everybody's a sun. Um and you know, your circle might be small, like it doesn't matter even if you have like even if you love yourself or just I don't know. I'm rambling at this point. But basically this is a song about social being socially awkward and overcoming that. Um be a Oh dude, oh my god, yeah. I totally feel that Voxen, totally. Um but yeah, I'm going to play a little bit of the song, the original song of which is on the Keegan album named after myself, which is um yeah, which is kind of it's kind of like an alternate version of me where I'm a cyborg. It's also I'm planning on changing when I when I re-release these albums again because I'm gonna make new versions of all these albums coming up in this year and years after. I'm probably gonna rename this to Casey, which is spelled Kacey. Um, because I'm gonna be very honest. Like there was a time where I've been experimenting with this is gonna be like one of the more revealing. I'm realizing as I'm talking, this is gonna be one of the more revealing streams I've ever done, which I guess is a step up for 2024. Like I've already talked about, yeah, W moms, definitely. Like my mom is so awesome. I love my mom. Um, I'll talk about it later. Anyway, this is Dance Like You Belong Here, original. I'll play a few seconds of it. Yeah. I'll play. That's only like I'll play like a few seconds of that, but that's the original. Um, as you could tell, it's already a very hyper song in its own right, and so I really had to outdo myself making a even more hyper version of it. All right, now this one is probably my favorite song. This one's my favorite visualizer, and you'll see why. But this is probably my favorite song on the album. It's Questioning Machine. Now I think Voxen, I think I showed you. Yeah, we dance like we belong here. Make it an affirmation. Today I'm gonna dance like I belong here. I'm gonna dance like I'm here to stay, and I'm gonna dance like no one watching wants me to go away. That's like a New Year's resolution. Anyway, um, questioning machine. So I think I showed you the original version of this song. Ironically enough, I think it was on a music submission stream that you did. It was like one of the only streams you did, like the first of its kind, where you listened to other people's music. I was the only person who submitted at the time, but yeah, I think I showed you the original version of this song. Anyway, let's get into it. Questioning machine. With a V instead of a U and a 4 instead of an A. Because I'm special. And don't mind the mix name. You don't need to read that. All right. I have to pause. That right there, what you just heard, is the reason why the reason why this is my favorite song I made. I really like the way I mixed my vocals in this. And when I say my vocals, I mean like my actual vocals, not the Vocaloid. The chorus that's playing right now with my voice. I really love how I mixed those vocals. Really loved it. It's like a combination of like a phase effect, but there's also like a delay to it. I bought a new phaser plugin to really add to the vibe. I really love how I did this. I really love how I mixed this one. Really love it. Anyway, let's get into it. Hey, I'm glad you recognized the melody. Yeah, so this is Questioning Machine. The original is actually done with a chip speech voice. It is another single. This one. This one's a comparatively more recent single. It also has its own music video, which I believe I believe the submission I sent to you, Voxen. I'll play a few seconds of it. It's just kind of a fun, I don't know, groovy pop-esque song. Very similar in style. I used chip speech declat for the vocals. A lot harder to understand the actual lyrics, of course, with chip speech. Play the... I really love the line, "You ask me questions like I'm an answering machine." It's like so clever. I really love the way I did that. I'm tooting my own horn. I'm tooting my own horn a lot, but you know that's what this entire stream is for, I guess. So I'm allowed to do it plenty. But yeah, I really like how I did that line. Is very, very clever in my humble opinion. Oh, my memory came back. Yeah, cool, all right. And then I kind of spun it on its head and called it a questioning machine instead of an answering machine. Because the whole song is like, it keeps coming back to asking like the asking the whoever the subject if you have feelings for me. Like that's that's the song. That's the question the song's asking. I don't know. It's just a fun pop song with a Chip's Beach twist. Um, and I really like the way I used answering machine. But yeah, that's that. All right. Now this is also a really good one, both musically and visually. So I'm starting to reconsider the top spot for my favorite, actually, the more I'm thinking about it. Because I'm not saying that, because the song itself for this is also really, really cool. It's just a really cool song and video. So I don't know. But this is Rigid, spelled with a 1 and an up and a exclamation point instead of 2 eyes. Now, Rigid is not super recent, but a lot more recent. I mean, obviously they're getting more recent as time goes on, right? Because it goes like oldest to newest. That's how I'm ordering things. But yeah, this is a remake of a much later song. Also, I leave a little warning here that says, "Warning, this video contains bright flashing colors which may not be suitable for photosensitive epilepsy." So I'm going to provide that warning right here as well. This video contains bright flashing colors, so if you have epilepsy or are prone to seizures, proceed at your own risk. You might want to skip this one or just listen to it, put it in your pocket and listen to it. I'm not only addressing live viewers, but I'm also addressing people who might watch this in the replay. Voxen, I hope you're not prone to that kind of thing. Just want to make sure before we go on. But yeah, this is a remake of Rigid. Which I'll show like a little bit of it. Like I won't actually play the song, but I'll show you the cover. Like this is the single. It's Rigid. It also has its own music video. It was a really big promotion. I did a huge fucking promo video for it. Or a music video. I'm not, but yeah, those warnings never hurt. Okay, cool. All right, I'll carry on then. I'm pretty sure you might be one of the only people watching. I know there's like, I mean, I'm watching, which is counting in the live chat, I think. It says 3 people are watching. I think there's one other person who might just be silently watching. Well, I hope you listen to my warning, because we're going into it. This is a bit more techno and less hyperpop. But it also has elements of dubstep. Synth Army Knife mix, which is a play on that nickname Abstract gave me. Hey, I'm glad you like it. That was the space is from Vital. Woo! Rave, let's go! Now you can see why I have an epilepsy warning. Even my keys getting in on the fun. Making my head transparent. And that very obscure saw melody, that is actually, I'll pause it, but that very obscure saw melody in this song is actually a slight nod to to an indie soundtrack. Well, obviously it's all indie. To a soundtrack I produced for my brother Elliot for one of his video games. It's called trying to remember the name. I'll briefly play it for you, but I don't want to interrupt the flow too much, so I'll keep it brief. But it's somewhere over here. Where is it? Might be older actually. Bear with me here. I apologize for interrupting the flow. Yeah, Magnet to a Gunfight. It's for Elliot's game Magnet to a Gunfight. It's Power Pulse. Just like a slight nod to that. Very subtle, but I thought I'd bring it up here because people might miss it otherwise, and I really want to add that little Easter egg. I want to reveal that Easter egg to people. But yeah, same melody. Just a slight nod. And then later on, you'll see even more nods. Recognize that? It's the simulation lyrics. And yeah. The chorus is in simulation, and Is There Anything Sexier Than Cyberpunk got a brief debut in this one. Yeah. Alright, that was Rigid. We're almost getting down to it. God damn. How long have we been streaming? We're gonna do Streamception real quick. Hold on, I just want to check. Down to it. God damn. How long has it been? All right. Not only like an hour and 30 minutes so far. All right, we're gonna get out of the Streamception. All right, yeah. Hey, Sundown, no worries. You can always rewatch too if you want. But we're down to it. We're going to the I also saw your comments on the songs, so I know you've listened to some of them. I'm glad you like them. Yeah, but this is Guilty Pleasure, which apart from Robot Beanie, is the only original song on this album that hasn't been made anywhere else. And this one also has a really, really cool story to tell that involves my own conflicting emotions, but I'll talk about that after the song is done. Let's get it. Guilty Pleasure. I want to see if you guys can guess what the meaning is. I don't expect you to pick accurately, but just curious. Yeah, I use the ring mod a lot. Same with Robot Beanie. And in Dish O Demons. The minor chords. Gives the song a new vibe. We right. That was Guilty Pleasure. The only other original song on that album. All right, Sundown, I'm curious what you think the song's about. I'm not gonna say what it is about until you say what you think it's about, because I wanna see. I'm very curious. But yeah, this is the only other original song on this album, and I wrote these lyrics very intentionally, each and every one, especially my vocals. And while we wait for Sundown's response, I'm gonna start talking about the final song in the album, which is Projicits, which is literally a combination between projecting and crickets, which are like the two I think my two latest singles apart from Simulation, right? Well, actually no, I've had plenty of other singles since then. My latest singles before I think the Thorny Tree dropped. Well, not even that. Fucking anything sexier than Cyberpunk was released after that. The two singles that were released after each other in fairly short period of time. Projecting and Crickets. They're very similar in vibe, and I felt like I wanted to combine them to really capture that era of 2023 without, busting my ass to release every single remake of the songs. Okay, Sundown, what's your thing? Seems like kinda to me being a friendship where it feels like you're going to be replaced, kinda. Ooh, interesting. All right. Or like a friendship with someone toxic, kinda. That's ooh, cool. Yeah, that's not what this song's about, but you know what? In a manner of speaking, metaphorically, I guess that is similar. All right, I'll tell you I'll tell you what it's actually about. The song is about AI, specifically my relationship with AI, how I feel about it. Because the song, the Po Uta vocals speak about it in a very glowed up type of way, like, this is so cool, something like that. I remember the lyrics were like, it's so lit, let it show, or something. Whereas my vocals were a little bit more cynical. The vocals, oh, you're my guilty pleasure, you're new but you are everywhere. The line, you're new but you are everywhere, hey, Visual Snow, thank you for coming through. I thought it was about AI art. Almost. Oh, yeah, well, I mean, it is. It's about AI art, but it's also just about AI in general. But AI art definitely plays a huge role. And when I say AI art, I'm talking about AI art broadly, not just drawings, because AI is coming for every single creative outlet, it seems. Music is not even safe anymore. There are so many music AI softwares you can use. But anyway, and I know some people also like to use AI in their creative projects, so it's a very gray area than a lot more people, I think, let on or are prepared to admit. And I'm caught between a rock and a hard place because I'm a creative who has admittedly used AI before in my creative projects where I could have hired an actual a person. Granted, I probably wouldn't have hired an actual person because before this AI existed, I probably would have just done it myself. But the fact still remains, now you can do things with an AI that you never could have done before. You only had to do it with a human. And it's such a huge leap in the technology. Like, these neural networks just like exploded in intelligence so fast. Hey, welcome, Craig, welcome. Yeah. So I titled the song Guilty Pleasure because it is kind of a guilty pleasure. Like, I enjoy I'm not only am I fascinated with artificial intelligence, but I also like, you know, in general, it's cool to make things that are easy, like, or it's cool to like have a really cool tool you can use, like, and it's also interesting, like, where do we draw the line on what's good AI and what's bad AI? Because I mean, I know a lot of vsynth producers who absolutely despise AI, but you know, the latest voice banks, like literally Po Uta, Vocaloid, that's moving into AI voice banks, you know? Synth V is AI generated. AI is in many respects revolutionizing voice synthesizers. Um so it's really just like a new frontier that we as creatives have to navigate and figure out. And you know, the line "You're new, but you are everywhere" talks about just how sudden this explosion really is. Like suddenly, like again, the very first instance of AI I've ever heard of, was DALL-E Mini. And when I'm talking about AI, I'm not talking about like hard coded AI, like enemies in a video game. I'm not talking about that. I'm sure everybody knows what kind of AI I'm talking about. I'm talking about machine learning, neural networks, deep learning artificial intelligence, like models that you train, which is kind of like a new thing, at least a somewhat new thing. I don't know how new it is, but recently that model has really exploded and everyone has noticed, like everyone. AI is just more math, another cool tool, the tool belt of the creative. Yeah, that's one way to look at it, but it's very complicated too, because AI art, like visual art, which is really what started a lot of this whole ethical conflict, does in fact replace, or at least it can replace, work for hire musicians. Or not work for hire musicians, work for hire visual artists who would otherwise, you know, get money from paid commissions. So it's a very interesting thing. And I understand a lot of the grievances visual artists would have for AI in that regard. I kinda am on the fence when it comes to AI that can make music, because now, as a musician, people can start making music for their video games or whatever. And I swear I'm not going to go on this huge rant about AI. I'm going to keep it succinct as I can. But hey, welcome back, love you. But I just want to make everyone at the end of the day, AI is a complicated tool and I acknowledge all the positives and all the negatives, and I do not have all the answers for it. But that's why I'm working on a series called the AI Deep Dive, which already has its first episode out and edited. But that's for another story. That's what Guilty Pleasure is about. And yeah, let's move on to the final song, which I was already talking about before Sundown guessed what the other song was about, which is called Projicits, which, like I said, is a combination of these two songs. And this time it's like a pure split combination. It's not like one primary song going through most of it, and then like, oh, like a sprinkle, I'll sprinkle in this song, or maybe this song too. This is like a split, a perfect split. Let's go. Final song. We go back to the day when it was crickets. Back to the day nobody knew my name. Can we go back to the day when I was no one? Woo! Can we go back to the day when it was crickets? Back to the day nobody knew my name. Can we go back to the day when I was no one? Back when I know I must have covered my face. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, here's the projecting. I forgot. I was kind of like I was lost in the. I was distracted, but I kind of want to go back on this one spot, because this wasn't intentional, but the way these songs complement each other lyrically is very cool. Because I was literally at the very end of the verse from Crickets. It's like talking about someone talking shit, and then the song projecting is kind of responding to that, like. It's just something I noticed while making this song. I really love Pouta's vocals in this. Hey, thanks, Sundown. All right, that was the final song in January Again. Thank you guys so much for coming through. I appreciate every single one of you. And Craig, I want to get back to that comment because I didn't see it. Word processors got typewriters fired. Try to use ethically sourced models, etc. Yeah. I wanted to touch on that real quick because you're right. This is the same. The AI is like very similar, like almost the same song and dance, pretty much. It's just because newer technologies replaced what you used to only be able to do like by hand. Another example is photography replaced portrait painters. You used to have to hire like this really good artist to like draw a portrait of yourself, right? But now photography, when the camera was invented, that was obsolete, it's definitely, we've gone through this shit before, but that doesn't change that doesn't change the new ways we'll have to get used to it. Every single thing is different. But yeah, I just wanted to respond to that specific thing. I'm not going to go into a whole spiel though. But Craig, if you're curious, I would love to refer to my my AI deep dive video where I talk about that artificial intelligence, both the positives and negatives, in depth, because they both exist. I'm trying to find it. Hold on. I swear I'm gonna keep this brief because I don't want this to become a promo video for the AI deep dive. But yeah, I edited it down and made it into a video where I talk with Love You and another musician friend of mine, Alex. Yeah, it's a good video. I recommend checking it out. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this. I am so glad each and every one of you came. I am so beyond thankful for your guys' support, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without you guys. And here's to another fucking awesome year in 2024. Also, before I sign off, I feel like I want to mention this one other thing. I want to mention... Also, I have the wrong background. Let's do this. There we go. I want to mention one other thing before I sign off. I want to mention the fact that I have also been considering making merch of these little characters you see behind me. Like, I'm talking about t-shirts, maybe long sleeve shirt. I don't know, probably just t-shirts for now. I'm thinking about it, but I have no idea how to do it. I'm doing research, so it may or may not happen. But if it does happen, I will let you guys know. I might also ask a few people who have sold merch before advice. I know Rich Av Preem does it all himself. Like, he literally makes the shirts himself. Like, he presses the decals on them himself, which is phenomenal. Like, kudos to him. He's such a multifaceted artist in that regard. Like, so cool. And I know Abstract has recently started selling merch, and I think he does it on his friend's website, Only the Host. I think I'm going to take the Shopify route and try that out. I've already done a little bit of research with a merch store and everything. I've looked at websites that I could probably, you know, print shirts that can print shirt designs for me. But yeah, that may or may not happen in the foreseeable future. Either sometime in January, but I'm not gonna stress myself out and say it's a guarantee. It might also be in February, or not at all. Like, that's just something I wanted to throw out because I'm thinking about it and I would like to try it out. Anyway, yeah, thank you guys so much for coming through. I appreciate you guys. And why don't we end this off with, the remade 2024 version of January Again. Because we started off this stream listening to the original January. So how fitting would it be to end this stream with the new January, taking us into 2024. Let's fucking go. All right. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Let's go.